Hi everyone! This week, we moved 3 of the green stalks to the backyard to make space up front for that courtyard project. The strawberry plants are getting some berries, which is just so much fun. I've never grown strawberries before, so this is really exciting. And the potato plants are looking pretty good. We started the potatoes at different times, so they all look a little different at the moment. So far, the peas, snow peas, and green beans in these 2 green stalks are doing pretty well. We only have 1 trellis pack from green stalk, so we had to make do and split them up. We used some rope to add more places for the vines to attach. Got a little flower on this pea plant. How exciting! Some are not doing as well as others, as you can see, but I'm hoping we will get some peas. Squashes are growing nicely, especially the yellow squash. Some of these squashes are a little slower than others, like the acorn and butternut squashes, but they are still looking pretty good. And the scented geranium has 2 little purplish flowers on it. Those little flowers are so pretty. I never thought I would be a flower person, but I get so excited now whenever one of my plants gets a flower. You can see the watermelon here. It has some true leaves getting started. All of my pepper plants are still really small, and I'm not sure if they're going to keep growing, which would be really sad, but I'm going to try my best. We'll see how it turns out. But the carrots are popping up like crazy. I'm not sure if it comes across as well on camera, but they look really vibrant and green. I'm happy to report that the grapevine is still alive. The chamomile is growing a little bit, but it still looks healthy and it doesn't seem to be showing any signs of problems, so at the moment I'm just letting them do their thing. Some of the tomato plants are starting to grow, which makes me happy. Tomatoes are supposed to be really easy, but I'm having so much trouble getting them to do anything at all. But I will keep taking care of them though. Hopefully, I'll be able to get a few tomatoes if I can get these to keep going. And the little tomatillo. It's pretty obvious that the onions are a wash and are not going to grow at all. I will try again another time. But the citronella is still growing like a weed. Here is the beginning of the wall my husband is putting up to separate the sitting area and create a spot to line with flower pots. This spot is where we are putting a small outdoor kitchen of sorts. It won't be a big fancy thing, just a spot for a grill, a small outdoor sink, and some counter space for cooking and to have a flat surface for hardening off seedlings, that type of thing. I will keep you updated on that as it progresses. This is a picture of the little broccoli heads I harvested that I forgot to show last week. I have 2 food updates this week. First, I made 5 freezer meals and marinades. The first is Zesty Italian chicken. I did go through all the ingredients in this one last week, but I will list them out again in the description so you don't have to listen to the same recipe 2 videos in a row. Next, I made one of my husband's favorites, sweet chili chicken. You'll only need 2 large chicken breasts or 3 or 4 small ones in a freezer bag. Then add 1/3 cup of soy sauce and a 1/2 cup of sweet chili sauce. You'll want to get as much air out of the bag as possible without spilling, and then smoosh the sauce all around so the entire surface of the meat is coated. We cook these in a pan on the stovetop. Sometimes we shred this, and sometimes we dice it up after it's finished cooking, but you could also just serve it as a full chicken breast if you like that better. This chicken has a sweet flavor with some spice from the chili, but the saltiness of the soy sauce just gives this the perfect salty-sweet balance. Next, I made some simple ones. Barbecue drumsticks and buffalo drumsticks. We have 4 drums per bag. I added 2/3 cup of barbecue to 1 bag and 2/3 cup of my favorite buffalo sauce to the other. Smoosh them around and 2 more meals done. We bake these in a glass dish or grill them outside. If we bake these drumsticks in the oven, we also give them a minute or 2 under the broiler at the end to make sure the skin and sauce gets crispy. The last one is the first step of a larger meal. My husband and I love making lo mein at home, so I'm trying the first step as a freezer marinade so I can just pull a bag of marinated chicken out of the freezer. I will link the full recipe with the remaining steps in the description. This uses boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and we always make double the recipe from the original. The marinade is 1 tablespoon soy sauce, a half teaspoon of white pepper, a half teaspoon of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm using avocado oil, but you could use any neutral flavored cooking oil for this. 2 tablespoons of Shaoxing cooking wine and a pinch of sugar. If you don't have the wine, you can substitute mirin in the same quantity and just leave out the sugar. I found this wine on Amazon, but if you have any Asian markets in your area, you might be able to find it there as well. It's similar to a dry sherry, but it has more depth of flavor. I bought it to see what we thought, but I am sold. I will always have this in my kitchen. Stir this up until it's mixed really well, and then pour it over the chicken. Repeat for the second bag if you're making 2 like I am. This recipe was originally for beef, but we found it works just as well for chicken or pork also. And there they are. 5 different recipes, and this will make us 8 meals. We add broccoli to the zesty Italian chicken to serve with rice. We also serve the sweet chili chicken over rice, but with stir-fry vegetables instead. The drums, we can have whatever side works, fries, veggies, salad, whatever we feel like at the moment. And for the lo mein, we just keep going with the next recipe steps from the link in the description. These took me about 20 minutes to put together, and they'll store in the freezer for about 3 months. They won't really, because we eat them too fast, but they could. The next foodie thing we had going on this week was homemade wings and baked french fries. We had a guest over and wanted to make something really yummy. I'll be honest, this all takes a while to make and involves several steps, but they were so awesome and so worth it. I started by slicing up 6 potatoes into fry-sized strips. You can do thin cut, thick cut, even steak fry style if you want to. It'll just affect the cooking time based on the size. I then soaked the potato strips for about an hour in cool water. This helps to leach out some of the starch. While the fries were soaking, I prepared the wings. I patted them dry with some paper towels. You could probably use a clean kitchen towel for this as well. And put them all in a large bowl. This did take me a few minutes because we had a lot of wings. And you could also use some food-safe gloves if you don't want to handle the raw chicken. I added about 2 to 3 tablespoons of avocado oil, some good pinches of salt, ground some black pepper, and tossed them all around until the wings were nicely coated with the oil and seasonings. If you notice that there's not quite enough oil, just add a little bit until they're all nicely coated. I didn't really have measurements for these wings when I made them. I just added what looked right, made sure that they were fully coated in the oil, but not too much. Like, you don't want oil dripping off the wings when you pick them up. And I added salt and pepper to taste. You could add other seasonings to these if you wanted to, but I didn't want any extra seasonings on the wings competing with the wing sauces. Spread them out on cooking sheets and bake at 350 Fahrenheit until they're fully cooked and crispy, usually about 30 minutes. I pulled them out and flipped them over about halfway through so they browned evenly. While the wings were baking and the fries were soaking, I got to work on the fry coating. You'll want 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of oil, a half teaspoon of onion powder, garlic powder, smoked paprika, salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. As usual, I just measured the salt and pepper with love. There's a lot of fries and I didn't want them to be bland. I doubled the recipe since I cut a whole bunch of potatoes. You'll want to stir this up well so it combines, and you can add more oil if it's too thick. You want the consistency similar to that of a salad dressing, like a vinaigrette. You can see here that I did need to add some oil. It was just still a little too thick for me, and I knew that when I put it on the fries, it was just going to get too clumpy. This is the consistency you're looking for with the fry coating. It is going to be relatively drippy. Next, I drained the potatoes, patted them dry like the wings, and then put them back in their big bowl. Take the sauce and drizzle it over the potatoes. I also used a spatula to get out all of that very flavorful coating. Using clean hands, tossed all that around until the sauce coats the potatoes. I again added just a tad more oil because the coating just still wasn't coating the fries quite well enough. Here is what the fries should look like when they're all nicely coated. By this time, the wings were done, so I pulled them out and put them in a baking dish to rest while I baked the fries. They're nicely brown, skin is really nice and crispy. I spread the fries out on the cooking sheets, leaving space in between them for air flow, and baked them at the same 350 Fahrenheit until they were cooked through, about 30 to 35 minutes, and flipped them halfway through. You may need to check them a couple of times to make sure they're at your favorite degree of doneness. The sauces for the wings came together in just a few minutes. I made garlic parmesan by mixing some melted butter, pinch of salt, garlic powder, and some freshly shredded cheese on the side. I made some sweet chili soy sauce with a 1/4 cup of soy sauce and a 1/2 cup of sweet chili sauce mixed together. Next was buffalo sauce, which was just some Frank's Red Hot sauce mixed with a pat of melted butter. The last was teriyaki, which was just some bottled teriyaki I had in my fridge. I put a few spoonfuls on the wings and tossed them around till they were coated. Just be careful how forceful you are when you flip these things around. They can go flying away and make a big ol' mess if they decide that they like the counter or the cabinets better than the bowl. For the garlic parmesan, I coated the wings with the garlic butter first and then sprinkled on the cheese. We like to put the parmesan on afterwards so we don't run the risk of the cheese melting. Plus, the cheese and the butter can get a weird sort of breading-like consistency if you add too much cheese to the garlic butter. You could also use pre-grated parmesan if you don't have a wedge or a block, or if you just want the ease and convenience of the pre-grated cheese. I would avoid the pre-shredded stuff though, as it tends to have pretty large cheese shreds, which can drown out the garlic with too much parmesan flavor, and also makes your wings look weird and spiky. And here they are! Homemade wings and baked french fries. Our favorite was the sweet chili soy sauce, which was just the perfect blend of sweet and salty and with a little bit of heat. But they were all so good, and we really liked that we could tailor our plates to however many of each flavor we wanted. Thank you so much for watching my video this week. I hope all of you have a fabulous week, and I hope to see you here next Sunday for my next update. Bye!